step seems too hard to take. Every turn feels like a big mistake. It makes you wanna close your eyes and hide. Trust yourself, even if you're scared. Don't give up, don't give in to fear. All the strength you seek, you'll find inside. Open up, spread your wings and rise above.
Good morning, Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to another fabulous Sunday morning. I am so excited to be here, and I am so excited to see all of your gorgeous faces, whether I'm looking at you with my eyes or I'm seeing you with my third eye online, maybe off into the distant future because you're watching this not right now for us, but right now for you. I don't know. Time, what is time anyways, right? So anyways, I'm so grateful that you are here and joining us wherever you may be and whenever you may be. My name is Reverend Kris. I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and we are physically located in Falls Church, Virginia, but that doesn't really matter because we are committed to being a truly global community, and so we welcome you wherever you are joining us from this morning. If you are joining us online, let's see, what is my question for you today? What is your favorite summer activity? What is your favorite summer activity? Y'all can shout it out here in the room as well. Mine is swimming. My favorite all year around activity is swimming. Kayaking. Ooh, I do love some good kayaking. What else? Going to the beach. Y'all are speaking my language. I'm feeling a Celebration Center joint vacation happening, maybe. What else? Driving around National Memorial Park. Yes. That's your favorite all year round activity too, Ed. What else? Anyone else? Any gardening? Oh, I love gardening too. Anyone online? Barbecues? What's your favorite food at a barbecue? Oh, hamburgers. Of course. Duh. He looked at me like, is that even a real question? Agreed, Rich. Agreed. What? Or steak. Well, I'm more of a hamburger person myself. Anyways, now all I want to do is leave and go, barbecue and swim. But hang out. We're only here for like 55 more minutes. You can do it before you go to all your summer activities. If you are joining us for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you. We are so grateful that you have found us, that you're joining us, and we invite you to fill out a guest card. If you are here in the room or online and tech savvy, and you would like to scan this QR code that's right here next to me, you are welcome to do that. That will take you to the guest card. You can also just fill in this website right here, bit.ly/CCSL guest, or if you are in the room, we do have guest cards right over on the table that you are welcome to fill out and drop in the basket for us. That way we can get to know you a little bit better. We can find out how we can support you, and we'll reach out to you this week. We have a really fun service planned today. I'm super excited about this talk. I have to tell y'all, I have really been enjoying this month talking about speaking truth to circumstances and all of the things that it entails. And I was actually talking to a couple of people. We did a Science of Mind 101 class over the last couple of weeks, and it's been so much fun because we've been re-diving into sort of those foundational spiritual principles, which I think is the truth that we're speaking to circumstances, right? And so it's been a very enlightening and sort of wonderful month for me. So I hope y'all are feeling that way too. And I'm going to be wrapping up my talks on speaking truth to circumstances this week by speaking on creating a strong foundation. And then next week, we are going to have Reverend Raymond Anderson here, and he's going to be speaking on the standing stones. So lots of good stuff. We also have Rich Kurasiewicz as our practitioner on platform. Let's give him a round of applause. And then we have our music director, Lynn Hollyfield, and our practitioner/singer extraordinaire, Jen Fay, joining us for music today. So let's give them a round of applause. I am looking forward to all of it. The sound checks were glorious, and I can't wait for y'all to hear as well. If you have a prayer request that you would like to share with us, we do have a ministry of prayer that meets on Monday afternoons, as well as our ministers and practitioners that pray with you throughout the week. There are a couple of different ways that you can give us that prayer request. You can scan this QR code that's right here next to me. You can also go to our website, celebrationcenter.org, and click on Request Affirmative Prayer. Or if you are here in the room, you are welcome to fill out a green prayer card and drop it in the basket for us. And all of those prayers are held in the highest confidentiality and love by our practitioners, our ministers, and our ministry of prayer throughout the week for you. And if you are joining us online, that means that you are already right there where you can just, boom, share out to social media. And so I invite you to share out what you are up to this morning. Put it on Facebook, Meta Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. I don't know what else is even out there anymore. Twitter, is anybody still on Twitter? Whatever it is, I invite you to go ahead and click on that share button, share it out to your social media, invite your family and friends to join you, and remind them they don't even have to put on pants to come to church this morning. How awesome is that? And we don't have any hybrid community time today, so we are so grateful if you are online, and we invite you to join us next week for our sing-along with Lynn Hollyfield. And for this week, go out and enjoy this beautiful summer weather. And with all of that, I would like to invite Jen and Lynn, yes, that is correct, Jen and Lynn, say that once slowly, and for an opening song.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you will sing along with us. We're gonna open with the song Stand by Karen Drucker. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace, let there be love. I am a stand for love, let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace, let there be love. I am a stand for love, let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace, let there be love. I am a stand for love, let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
This is lovely. My name is Rich Kurasiewicz. I'm a licensed practitioner here at this center. Please say our vision together with me. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. Today's reading comes from July 8th, 365, Signs of Mind by Ernest Holmes. God is truth, and truth is God. We are also included in this divine and perfect unity. Therefore, every claim we make about God, the living Spirit, should equally be made about ourselves, because we live and move and have our being in this infinite truth or presence. Therefore, I know the truth about myself. I know the truth about everything I do. I know the truth about everyone I meet. I know the truth about every situation in which I find myself. The truth is not only perfection, it is also power. It is not only presence, it is also action. Therefore, the truth and the power and the presence and the action of the living Spirit flow through everything I do, say, and think. I do know the truth, and the truth I know frees me and keeps me free. I invite you to enter this sacred time in our service with a 3-part breath. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel how you are supported by your chair and the ground beneath your feet as you deepen your breath and bring your awareness to the present moment. Allow everything else, the worries, concerns, to-do lists, and busyness to fall away as you simply relax in the now. Focus on your heart center, the secret place of Most High within. And so we pray. God is all there is. God is the one power, the one presence, the one mind, one substance, the creator and the creation. God is the infinite presence of love and good in the universe and the all-sustaining source of all. I am that I am. I am one with God and all there is. I am one with the Father, the power, the presence, and the mind of God. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And just as I am perfect, whole, and complete, each and every one is perfect, whole, complete, eternal, and immortal. I declare that the presence of God is manifested in our lives in the form of peace, love, joy, abundance, health, harmony, goodness, freedom, prosperity, compassion, and friendship. I know this truth sets us free as we affirm there is only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. That life is my life right now. I know that each and every one affirms that good through daily and frequent spiritual practices as our consciousness is raised to experience truth in our lives and love, light, and goodness are revealed. I affirm that we live, move, and have our being in God. I am so very grateful for the truth that sets us free and for the knowledge of the consistent power, presence, good, and love that are infinitely and ever present, for we are all of one substance. I am grateful for the freedom to affirm this truth through faith. I'm grateful that the gifts have been made and are ours through the recognition of the infinite good that is everywhere present and available. I am so very grateful for the blessings in our lives. And I release my word unto the law where it is already known in the mind of God and will not return unto me void. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
We're going to share a song by Christy Snow called I Sing My Love.
I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love, I sing my love, I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. Dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I sing my love. I dance my joy. I live my peace into the world. I sing my love. I dance my joy. I live my peace into the world. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love into the world.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn and Jen. So, let's create a strong foundation this morning, shall we? So if y'all remember, let's just do a quick recap. Recap of what has happened so far this month. Oh, Lord. I feel like we can use that as like a hashtag for SEO or something like that. Get 1 million views. Recap. So this month we started out talking about our monsters and how when we open up our closets or look under our beds, we can find the monsters that are in the shadows, lurking in the shadows. And once they're not in the shadows anymore, once we flip on the lights and look the monsters in the eye, all of a sudden, they're not so monstery anymore. They're a little more friendly, a little more able to be befriended. And then we went from there and we talked about this idea of got me hypnotized. What happens when the circumstances in our lives are so big, so hard, so looming? It's all we can focus on. What do we do? What do we do when that happens? And then from there, we went, and if you're like, I don't know, what do we do? Go back and watch the talk. But we're also going to talk more about it today. And then from there, we talked about powerful truths. Are we allowing our truths to be so big and so magnificent and so infinite that they blow our minds on a regular basis? Are we allowing our truths to support us in our own evolution, in our own spiritual growth? Now, the truths themselves may not evolve, right? But our understanding, our relationship to them does. And so are we allowing them? Are we looking at them from such a perspective that we are in this constant state of awe and wonder? And so from there, this week, what I want to talk about is our spiritual foundation. So I want you to go back. For some of you, you'll have to go back, way, way, way back. And for others of you, maybe you're going back just a couple weeks. Who knows? But I want you to go back to when you found this teaching. So not necessarily science of mind specifically, but this sort of idea that you're in control of your reality. So maybe you found it through Centers for Spiritual Living or Science of Mind. Maybe you found it through a Unity. Maybe you watched The Secret or What the Bleep Do We Know or something like that. And all of a sudden you were so amazed, right? And all of the sudden you realize, oh my God, I'm not a victim to everything that's happening in my life. Do you remember that moment when you found this teaching, whenever it was, and you figured out, you realized you are not a victim to circumstance? And how'd you feel? You probably felt pretty excited, right? All of a sudden, things could be different than how they were. Maybe they aren't different yet, but they could be different. And so then you go on this journey and you seek, and then you learn more, and you're kind of an open sponge. And I'm just explaining my own journey and the journey of people I've heard about, but I think that, most of us can relate to at least parts of this. You're a sponge, and you're reading all the books, and you're looking up all the videos, and you're trying to find other people like you, and you're having these amazing conversations, and oh my God, it's so amazing. And so then you begin to shift your thinking and shift your perspective and shift your idea about life and shift the way that you show up in the world. Just a little bit at first, and then maybe more. But what you notice is those tiny little shifts, they have a big impact. And maybe I would say for myself and for most people that I see that when we first find this teaching, there are some pretty radical shifts that happen pretty quickly in our lives. And so then we create a vision board, and we look at that vision board every day, and we say our affirmations, and we wear the complaint-free world bracelet, and we change it every time we complain, and we learn not to complain, and all of a sudden life is just getting better and better and better. And then we learn about princesses, parking spaces, and palaces, and we can manifest the crap out of some parking spaces, man. I haven't parked in the back of a parking lot in 5 years, right? And all of a sudden, every time a parking space is open at the front of the store or the center or the restaurant or whatever, we go, I created that because I create my reality. I did that. And maybe our princess hasn't come yet, or maybe our palace hasn't come yet, but by golly, we can create a parking space, right? And then all of a sudden, you notice that small things are changing too, that you can really tell if you wake up grumpy that it's immediately yielding results. And all of a sudden, everybody else is grumpy around you and you have a really bad day. And so then you realize, can't be grumpy. I got to be happy all the time, got to be happy, right? And then you start going, this stuff really works. Oh my God, TSRW, this stuff really works. This is amazing. I'm so excited. The world is my oyster. This is fabulous. Oh my God, why doesn't everybody get this? If everybody would just understand that they are creating their own reality, and if they'd just be a little happier, everything would be fine. And then you buy all the merchandise, and every shirt you buy and own says positive vibes only. And you have the positive vibes only tote, and the positive vibes only bumper sticker, and the positive vibes only hat. And anytime somebody's negative around you, you go, you are messing up my vibes, and you leave, right? Anybody else have some version of this experience? It makes a lot of sense, right? I remember one time when I'd been in the teaching for a little while, but I was diving deeper into it, and I started complaining. I complained about my mother because, as y'all know, if it's not one thing or another, it's probably your mother. And so I was complaining about my mother, and I flourished. I know, so shocking. Y'all have never known me to flourish, right? I flourished my arms like that, and I knocked over my venti iced caramel macchiato upside down because that was my drink of choice. It's still my drink of choice, right? And the whole thing spilled everywhere, and I went, oh, I created that. Oh, if I only hadn't been complaining about my mother, I would not have created that, and I would still have my iced coffee, and you would still have all of your paperwork because it was on my minister's desk. Of course it was, right? and did I? Yeah, probably, because I was, wildly flailing my arms while complaining about my mother, and had I not been complaining about my mother, I probably wouldn't have been wildly flailing my arms. And yet, I feel like there's a little more to it, right? So you get that far. And often what happens is we build what we think is a really strong foundation in that spot. In that spot of, I create my reality, and by my will be done. I can do it, and I can do it with gusto, and I'm not going to be sad ever again, and nothing bad is ever going to happen again, and life is just going to be magnificent because I have these teachings and I am a spiritual being now. Poor y'all, you are not as spiritual as me. You got a cold last week? What was in your consciousness, right? Or we get a cold, I get a cold, and I go, oh yeah, well, the other day I got grumpy because somebody cut me off in traffic, so now I'm getting a cold. That makes sense. Yeah, totally. That direct correlation there, absolutely. And so it works. It works until it doesn't. It works until something really awful happens. It works until we get into a really bad car accident, or we get diagnosed with a chronic illness, or somebody in our life dies or leaves. It works until it doesn't. And here's the problem with setting up and building our foundation on the by my will be done, positive vibes only, is that when something really, really bad happens, there is nowhere on your foundation for that to fit because it doesn't fit into your spiritual worldview. And so all of the sudden, not only are you having to deal with whatever the really hard thing is that is happening, but you're also having to deal with the fact that your entire foundation, which you thought was so strong, crumbles all at one time. And so all of a sudden, your spirituality is gone, and your whatever the part of your life is gone, and it really sucks. It really sucks. Has anybody had that experience? Maybe you haven't. Maybe everything's still going hunky-dory and you're like, heck yeah, by my will be done. That's right. That's right. I know that I have. And so what I have discovered is that there are only two options. If you have decided that you are not going to evolve your understanding of science of mind principles past this idea of think a different thought, have a different experience, or I create my reality, or positive vibes only, if you don't evolve your understanding of principle beyond those ideas, you have only two options when something goes wrong. Option number one, throw everything away and you walk away. Throw this whole teaching out the door. You storm out, often with fanfare. You make sure everybody knows how mad you are, that you were duped into believing that you create your own reality. And you walk out the door, never to return again. And then you go, oh, those guys, they're a cult. Yeah, I got sucked in by that cult that one time, but I'm smarter now. I know, I really am a victim. Totally. Yeah. Victim. That's all there is to it. Right. And you go, that stuff never worked. Did I make it all up? Was it all in my head? And you start noticing all the bad stuff of life. So that's one option. Or when that thing goes really, really wrong, you have to, and you refuse to evolve your principles, you have to enter a state of cognitive dissonance. These are the only two options. Now, cognitive dissonance is a state of tension that occurs when a person holds two ideas, attitudes, beliefs, opinions that are psychologically inconsistent with each other. So, an example would be smoking is bad for your health, and I smoke 2 packs a day. On some level, we have to justify the fact that, well, smoking is bad for everybody else, but for me, it's totally fine. Or maybe we justify it by saying, I didn't want to really live that long anyways. Whatever it may be, we have to have cognitive dissonance. In science of mind, it might be oneness. We're all one. Those people over there, they just don't get it. They deserve what's happening to them. But we're all one. I am the oneness that is. You, not so sure about you, but I am the oneness that is, right? That cognitive dissonance. And so then what happens is that we have to enter spiritual bypass, and we have to start looking at this looming thing that has happened in our life, and we go, this is fine. Everything is fine. It's all fine. And there is a great comic that sums up what we do in Science of Mind. This is fine. Everything is fine. The building is not burning down around me. I'm just going to sit here and sip my tea. It's all fine. And what happens when we do that is that then our empathy, our compassion, our understanding, our ability to support ourselves and one another, it just goes down the you-know-what, down the tubes, right? All of a sudden we have to blame, we have to shame, we have to guilt, we have to just completely lost that word. Apparently wasn't supposed to say that. We have to enter into metaphysical malpractice, where we use these teachings to beat ourselves and other people up. Well, I should have been better. I should have been better. It's all my fault. You know, death obviously doesn't happen to everyone. It only happens to that person, and it's only because of me. Or, we go, what was in your consciousness? Or what was in my consciousness? Or what was I creating? Or I must have done fill in the blank wrong to have this horrible thing happen to me. And we can't see past that to look at the world and go, things happen. Stuff happens. It just happens, and it happens to everyone. It happens to you whether you are spiritual, whether you are good, high consciousness, high vibration, whether you're intentional with your words, actions, and deeds, whether you haven't put a single carb in your body since 1974. Stuff still happens. And so these two options, they're not that great of options. Cognitive dissonance or storm off and become a victim again. So what is the third way? How do we actually create that strong foundation that is big enough and strong enough that when the stuff hits the fan, our spiritual principles, our spiritual understanding, our practices don't crumble along with everything else? That is the question. And here's what we get to do. We get to understand that perfection is not an option. It's just not. You are never going to be perfect. Never. I am so sorry to burst your bubble. You are just not. I tried really hard, y'all. I would have obtained it if it was attainable. I would have. I'm sure some of y'all are like, me too, right? And you still aren't perfect. So it's not an option. So just let it go. Set it down. Relinquish control over perfection. And then we have to understand that spirituality, being a spiritual person, does not make us inherently better, easier to do things. Our lives aren't going to necessarily be better. We aren't smarter. We aren't stronger. We aren't more conscious. We just aren't. Being spiritual doesn't actually do any of that. So you might be thinking, what does being spiritual do? Being spiritual gives us the tools to handle life when the stuff hits the fan. That's what it's here for. It is here for us to deepen our connection to the divine, for us to have the best life that we possibly can, understanding that that life isn't going to be perfect, easy, comfortable, and good all of the time. And so what spirituality and spiritual principles do is they allow us to get through the muck and the mire. They allow us to know that we are strong enough to handle anything that comes our way. So what can we do? How can we build this foundation that's strong enough to hold whatever comes crashing down onto us and it, because it's what we're standing on? Well, the first thing we can do is notice our response when something goes wrong for somebody else. Maybe you're in that part of this teaching where you're like, I create my reality. Look at that parking space. That parking space is proof that I am in control of everything. I can control the very essence of my cells. I can tell that this one cell right here, it's eating a grain of sugar. I can tell. I am that conscious. Right? Maybe you're in that point, and that's okay if you are, but notice when you're in that thinking, what do you think when something goes wrong for somebody else? Are you empathetic and compassionate and understanding? Do you believe them when they tell you their story? Do you judge them or do you blame them? Do you secretly wonder, what was in their consciousness? Do you get your Louise Hay Heal Your Life workbook out and go, I knew it, childhood trauma. They should really do something about that childhood trauma, right? Or are you open and understanding? And I invite you, if you notice yourself judging somebody else for an experience that they are having, work on relinquishing control. Surrender to the idea that that thing could happen to you too. There, but the grace of God, go I. I know that's a dualistic phrase, but I think it all the time. Because the reality is that the things that are going right in my life are often going right because of luck. And the things that are going wrong in my life are often going wrong because of luck. It's just the way that it is. And so we get to step back from this idea that we are in control. Because here's the problem with understanding that we're in control all the time. We can't be that empathetic person. We just can't be empathetic if we believe that somebody else is in total control of their lives. Because then when something bad happens, it has to be their fault. And yet, have you had something bad happen to you that wasn't your fault? Yes, absolutely. Everybody has. Everybody has. And so we have to let go of the fear that comes with knowing something bad, and I'm using bad and good by these human understandings and ideas, right? Because we know that it's all God and there is no such thing as good and evil and right and wrong and good and bad and all of that stuff. And all of that is true on a billion scale perspective. But we're here being human. And so if we can't use these spiritual tools and teachings to help us in the actual lives that we're living right now, what is the point? And right now, there are things that happen in our lives that feel good or bad or even right or wrong. And I bet some of those things we can agree, that was maybe not the best decision. And other things we're going to argue. No, they were right. No, they were wrong, right? And so instead, what we get to do is relinquish control and step back and say, you know what? Something could go wrong. And then we follow that up by saying, and I am strong enough to handle it. Something could go wrong, and I will make it through if it does. I will be okay. I have the support network. I have the spiritual principles and practices. I have the tools that I need. I have the friendships that I need. There are resources that are available to me if something goes wrong. And so we also step away from spiritual bypass. We just don't do it anymore. No more spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass is using spiritual principle to pretend that everything is okay. So we put on our blinders and we go, oh, well, that all is well, all is well. I had a teacher who I love very dearly, and she said, if you were sick, you would get out of bed, you would force yourself out of bed, fever be damned, cold be damned, flu be damned, COVID be damned, whatever it is, stomach bug. You would get out of bed and you would walk around your house with your head held high and you would say, I am not sick. And you would walk around, I am not sick. That was it. That was what you did. It didn't work. Sometimes it did because you weren't that sick, or maybe you actually just needed a little more movement in your life or something like that. But when something is going seriously wrong, pretending that you are not sick when you are is not going to work. Even Ernest Holmes, our founder, said we are not so cold-blooded as to tell someone in pain that they are not in pain. That someone includes you. Don't be so cold-blooded to yourself that you pretend you're not in pain when you are. It's okay. It's okay to say, yeah, I'm in pain. This sucks right now. And I am strong enough to get through it. And I have the tools and the resources to get through it. We also get to normalize life being hard. I think we have this idea that being spiritual means that we get to be comfortable and that everything gets to be easy. And yet nowhere in any spiritual practice or teaching is comfort and ease promised to us. Life is not meant to be comfortable and easy. That's not why we're here. It's just not. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's going to happen. And get comfortable with things being hard, because they're going to be hard sometimes. I love Glennon Doyle. She wrote Untamed. Glennon Doyle, she says, we can do hard things. We can do hard things. I tell myself that all the time. I can do this hard thing. I am capable of doing this hard thing. I don't affirm that it's not hard. I affirm that I can make it through the hard thing. Do you see the difference there? Do you see using the principles to actually get through what is happening, not pretend that what is happening isn't happening? That's what we do when we have mental health challenges. We pretend something isn't there that is there. We pretend something is there that isn't there, right? We can normalize emotions. I just turned off my whole thing. We can normalize emotions. We can normalize being sad, being grumpy, being angry, being full of grief. We can normalize all of it. We can normalize joy and bliss and happiness. And yet, those aren't the only emotions that we're going to experience. Sometimes we're just going to wake up and be like, you know what? I'm grumpy today. So I'm going to shift my schedule around as much as possible to not interact with people. I'm going to do my spiritual practice, and then I'm going to just be grumpy. And I'm going to let myself be grumpy. And by doing that, we shorten the amount of grumpiness. It's like the elephant in the room. I'm not grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I'm not grumpy. Is it working? Because now I just want to murder people. And this smile just feels really fake. But I'm not grumpy, not at all, right? It doesn't work. But if we go, yeah, I'm grumpy, it's just what's happening in my body right now. And I know that tomorrow something different will be happening. I know that maybe in 5 minutes something different will be happening. And I can just be okay with what is. And then, finally, I want to just talk for just a moment about our spiritual piggy bank. So my mentor, Reverend Leslie Goodwin, she talks about daily substantial spiritual practice, DSSP, daily substantial spiritual practice. This is what we were talking about the other day. I got her to write it all out for me. And daily substantial spiritual practice includes talking to God, listening to God, study and contemplation of people and things that know more than we do in certain areas. And finally, self-reflection every single day. And some days that's going to be meditating for 30 minutes, journaling for 30 minutes, and reading for 30 minutes. And then we pray for 30 minutes, and we are just the most spiritual being on the face of the planet. And then some days it's going to be, I hate everything and I don't want to do any of it. And so it's 5 minutes of just sitting in the garden or looking out the window. And it's 2 minutes of writing down, I hate the whole world and I don't want to do this today. And it's 1 minute of listening to God and God doesn't actually do anything, and you're like, well, oh, it's work. And then it's 3 minutes of reading a book and going, I've read the same paragraph 4 times. But that's still daily substantial spiritual practice, because you still showed up to yourself, you still showed up to your spirituality, you still showed up to God. And when you take 1 step to God, God takes 100,000 steps right back to you. And so maybe you didn't hear anything. Maybe it was, maybe you just wrote, I do this all the time in my morning pages, blah, 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 I have nothing to say today. Maybe that was it. But you still showed up. And every time you show up, you are putting deposits into your spiritual piggy bank. So that when life really gets rough, when all of the stuff hits the fan, when everything comes crashing down, all of a sudden you realize, I'm still standing on a strong foundation. There's so much stuff piled up on here with me, and yet I am still standing on this strong foundation. I can do this. I can do hard things. Why don't you say that with me? I can do hard things. Let's say it again. I can do hard things. Yes. Thank y'all. All right. Y'all want to come up for another song? Thank you.
Okay, we are going to share Daniel Namat's song, I'm Home. Wherever I am, I'm home. Even when I'm wandering this world alone, it doesn't matter where I go, oh no, wherever I am, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. Wherever I am, I'm home. Even when I'm wandering, I'm never alone. It doesn't matter where I go, oh no, wherever I am, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. Wherever I am, I'm home. Even when I'm wandering this world alone, it doesn't matter where I go, oh no, wherever I am, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. I'm home.
I love that song. So thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Jen. This is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings, knowing that your very presence here is a gift to us. All that you bring, your love, your intentionality, your curiosity, your authenticity, all of it is a gift to this community. And knowing that this community runs on time, talent, and treasure. And so we are so appreciative of what you bring and offer to this community. And so if you have a talk tithe offering donation for us this morning, there are several different ways that you can give that. You can scan this QR code if you're feeling particularly techie this morning. You can also go to our website, celebrationcenter.org, and click on the Give button. Or if you are here in the room, you are welcome to drop something in the basket. And now, Rich, would you like to come up?
Join me in saying our offertory affirmation together aloud. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We now bless all the gifts that are donated now or coming into the center, as we know they are given from the Spirit and love within as we practice the law of circulation. Money is energy. We express gratitude for this flow of energy of good that is motivated by love and Spirit within. These gifts come into the center and go back out to the community to benefit the community, and then come back to us multiplied as good is multiplied. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
Technology is wonderful when it works on time. And when it doesn't, we breathe.
There we go.
Yay.
Okay. I hope you'll all join us with our closing song if you feel up to standing. I think you'll be familiar with this. It's called Put a Little Love in Your Heart. Think of your humankind and keep an open mind. Now put a little love in your heart. You know it's getting late. Oh, please don't hesitate. Now put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Now put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, now put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, now put a little love in your heart. I hope that you decide kindness will be your guide, and put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. And just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. 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 Yeah. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Rich, for your practitionership today. Thank you, thank you. And as a reminder, we do not have a hybrid community connection time this week, but next week, feel free to join us for Lynn Sing Along. That is just so much fun every month. And with that, I invite you to repeat after me. Something wonderful is being revealed to me today. I stand in my truth. I face my fears. I allow life to unfold as me. I am powerful. And so it is.